post-op week 3 and the other shoe has dropped. I'm going to try not to get too emotional, but it has been a really emotional couple days for me. My healing up to this point has been pretty flawless. Even the stuff that's been really hard has all been expectedly hard. And so this whole time I've just been wondering when something might go wrong. I try not to live a pessimistic outlook, but I am a realist and I know that this has been a massive surgery and at some point I may have some sort of a complication. So 19 days post-op, just shy of 3 weeks, I was checking out my incisions and I noticed that I had a pocket of fluid on the side of my abdomen that when I was poking at my incision, it was rippling like a waterbed effect. And then I noticed I had another one on the other side. After speaking with my surgeon's office, they confirmed that they are, in fact, seromas, which seromas are pockets of fluid that collect and are not properly draining because when you get the surgery, it cuts off those lymphatic drainage channels. And so sometimes the fluid just collects and doesn't drain the way it should. And so while previously I had the drain to help get all that fluid out, now that I didn't have the drain, it just started collecting. After speaking with my surgeon's office, they said that it was very important that I get it drained and that my PCP office should be able to do that for me. My primary care physician is on vacation this week, of course, but I was in contact with her, and since this is not her specialty, she got in contact with her acute surgery nurse practitioner friend who said that seromas generally reabsorb on their own, and this shouldn't require any sort of drainage. After speaking with my surgeon's office again, they said, no, this really needs to be drained, and I said I could fly back to Florida to get it drained by them, but that would require a lot of money and a lot of time for me to travel that far, so I tried to find a different solution. I called multiple plastic surgeons in the area to see if anybody would take me. Before surgery, I heard that plastic surgeons really don't want to touch each other's patients. Actually, nobody wants to touch a elective plastic surgeon's patients. So I did know this risk going into it, having my surgeon be in a completely different state from me. I was hoping I wouldn't have complications, but I did know going into this that that might happen. So the private plastic surgery office that I contacted said, nope, we will not do that. They directed me to our local hospital plastic surgery office. I contacted them. I had my plastic surgeon send a referral to them. And after reviewing it, they determined that it was a, quote, cosmetic procedure and that my insurance would not cover anything that they did for me. They said it was $150 just for the consultation, and that does not include any procedure. Once we had the consultation, they would then determine what the procedure would require, and they would go from there. At an absolute minimum, they said they would start at 30 minutes, and a 30-minute outpatient visit costs $600. If you go up to an hour, it costs over $1,000, and then they just go from there. Now, as far as seroma drainage goes, I'm pretty sure it only would take like 5 minutes, so hopefully the appointment would only take 30 minutes, but even so, we're looking at over $700 just to drain my seromas one time. And from what I've learned about seromas, a lot of the times the fluid can come back multiple times and need to be drained multiple times as you are continuing to compress and get your body to heal properly so that there isn't an open pocket where the fluid can collect. I spent literally hours researching different locations that I could try to go to see if anybody would help me drain this seroma. But literally everybody said no to me. Either there was some sort of liability and they didn't want to put their licenses on the line, or they thought it would reabsorb on its own, or they wanted extensive amounts of money. So I circled back around to my primary care physician again. Since she's out on vacation this week, she recommended that I try to see one of the on-call providers and see if maybe they would be willing to drain it for me. When I went to see the on-call provider, he was running extremely late for his appointment, so after about 45 minutes of waiting in the waiting room, the nurse finally roomed me, and as she was rooming me, she explained to me how the doctor actually already told her that he most likely would not be draining it because he believed that seromas could reabsorb on their own. So now we're back to square one, where everybody is saying that this seroma is going to reabsorb on its own. Whereas the surgeon that did my surgery and knows the recovery process and understands how this works and knows my body and knows what's going on is saying that it needs to be drained. I did a lot of research on this, and I do know that it is definitely possible for seromas to absorb on their own, especially with great compression and heat and all of those things. But from what I've learned, the abdominal seromas are especially hard to have reabsorbed because it's extremely hard to compress that area properly for it to absorb. And I have literally been on a level 10 compression for the last 3 weeks. So there's been no question about my level of compression. I have started using a heating pad to try to get things moving even more. I have been doing lymphatic massages on myself. We do not have any lymphatic massage therapists that do the modality that I need specific for a tummy tuck in Vermont, so that has been kind of impossible for me to find, so I've been trying to do it on my own, and maybe if I had somebody, I wouldn't have had this problem. I don't know. All of this to say, it has been extremely stressful for me, and it's hard for me not to get emotional because I truthfully feel a little bit betrayed within the medical system, but I also was pretty aware going into this that this may happen. So while I'm really frustrated and truthfully a little bit worried and unsure of what's going to happen at this point, I'm also not thoroughly surprised. I spoke with my surgeon's office again, and he is going to be speaking with my primary care physician directly to hopefully clarify that this is something that needs to be drained and will not reabsorb likely on its own. And hopefully once he explains his perspective, it won't be a question and I will be able to get this thing drained. But until then, I feel like I'm living in this limbo of uncertainty, and it's really stressful when it comes to your body and your healing and not knowing what's going to happen and if there's anybody here that can help me, or if I need to fly across the country and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get this resolved, and for all I know, have to make this trip multiple times. So fingers crossed, everybody, that my primary care physician will drain this for me, because at this point I am about 5 seconds away from poking my own belly with a needle and drawing it out myself. Other than that, it's been about the same. Healing is slow moving, but I feel okay. Aside from the seromas, I feel okay. My incisions are looking really good. I actually switched from the medical tape, I believe it's called Metapore tape. I switched from the medical tape to the scar tape, and that is light years better. The medical tape, it was just so sticky and it just drove me absolutely insane. And this scar tape is really nice. It's silicone tape and it sticks and it re-sticks, so you can take it off before you shower. And my phone just died. But as I was saying, you can put the silicone strips back on after your shower, so it's really nice. You can actually wash your incisions, which has been frustrating not being able to do that and really see them that well with the medical tape. Last but not least, I just wanted to do a little mini disclaimer because I know that I have a lot of nursing friends that might be watching this, and I'll have a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, I could have drained your seroma. You know, you should have let me know. I would have done it for you. And first off, thank you in advance to all those amazing people that would have offered that. I, right now, am trying to take the quote unquote proper route by going through the medical system so that if any future issues arise, that it's all in the books and I'm doing it the quote right way. But if I can't get that done, then we'll go from there. Also, I'm aware that this is a little bit emotional. It's super vulnerable, and I've questioned whether to share this or not, but I committed from the beginning to be transparent and honest with everybody on my journey. And that means sharing the hard times, the sucky times, and the times when I might not have it all together and I might not know what the heck I'm doing. And I'm hoping that over the course of this, maybe hopefully my next update next week, I'll have more information. I will have good news, hopefully, and we will all learn together. So until next week, fingers crossed, and I'll keep you updated. You can see it's getting bigger. This side is too. This one's a little bit firmer, but it's like all through here. Let's see if I can show you. It's like this lip right here. It just bubbles right out. It's kind of hard to show. But hopefully we'll get this out soon. Yeah, it's a good angle.